When we came in to excavate in this site, one of the principal objectives that we had was to find what structural evidence there was within this area, within this platform or plateau of the whole manorial complex. And having sort of answered the questions that we wanted about where they had dug before, what that ditch happened to be over there, we thought we'd come right down into this corner to put something in and look at it, and we sort of really did hit the jackpot on all of this. You can see how much stone there is around, you can see how much stone has come out of this, but nevertheless, even as we came down onto the stone, we were seeing things like this stone here with what looked like an edge lining up with that, and then parallel over here we could see, probably not that one down there which was further down, but these two higher up here. You could just see those little clues and glimpses that suggested there was actually going to be a wall in here, and we've gone down very carefully on either side, removing what's identifiably rubble from what doesn't seem to be in that sort of way, and down and down and down. We come down to this absolutely beautifully made wall that is constructed here. Interestingly, in terms of construction, right down there, we haven't found what we usually find with masonry walls, which would be a V-shaped cut to form a foundation trench into which they build the wall. And it looks here as if instead they're building directly onto the clay, presumably removing the topsoil and then just going down onto the clay. The clay is pretty solid here, and it's a style of construction that's perfectly possible, but we've looked very carefully for those foundation trenches, and they haven't come up. Now, we had good reason to believe that there would be some sort of structural evidence within this area, simply because from previous excavations, the small amount of workable evidence and records that we got from them, we've seen a lot of this sort of demolition rubble around the place, and it didn't seem very likely they brought it all over there to spread it out over here. There still seems to be good evidence, though, that the original medieval manor, that from the, I would believe, probably starting in the 12th century and carrying on through the 13th and 14th century, was further over that way, over the other side of the road there. And that at that time, what this area would have been was really the working end, the working edge of that manor, down towards where the stream is going away, down towards where the cattle come down to cross over the stream there, and possibly there's some reason to suspect there'd be a mill further down there somewhere too. So more of the residential end there, the working end down here. We've been picking up little bits of slag, kicking around as we're digging here. We've got this purely written records of them finding fireplaces and hearths over here. Might suggest that some sort of forging was going on too. But clearly this sort of well-made building of this sort of substance is something rather different from that. What we currently suspect it is, from a combination of a single documentary reference and the finds that have been coming up from around here, is a new house that was put in here early in the 15th century, probably in the 1430s. So for those who came on the trip to Ulm, this would be part of what was actually a very, very widespread rebuilding that was going on in England and Wales in the 15th century. It would be practically contemporary with the construction of Ulm church and the almshouses there. There's also actually been a lot of work being done on timber buildings, timber medieval buildings in England in particular. The dendrochronology there is showing a great deal of building going on from the middle of the 15th century onwards. And as I say, I'm very, very hopeful that this is what we've actually got here. Now, just to sort of take you through some of the archaeology of it, obviously coming down onto this great mass of stones, we've had to take it down very, very carefully on either side. But you can probably see already that the stones that we've got on this side, we've got quite a lot of big stones, even that one at the front there, nicely shaped, proper building stone, which are actually tumbling down somewhat in that direction. Over on this side, although there are one or two large stones up on the top here, you're seeing much, much more little shattered stones, more similar to the cobbling that we've got over there, but not forming a sort of nice walkable on cobbled surface, such as we have over there. And in fact, going down through it, we're coming down onto the natural clay down at that level over there. Where Yasmin and Laura are sitting over here there, you can probably see that they are higher up than Joe there. We've come down onto a nice clean clay surface there that's got mortar in it, as well as, you know, stones sitting on the top of it or that have sunk into it. And that, although it's a little bit premature to sort of draw a conclusion, that's looking much more like the best we'll find for an interior floor surface in relation to this building. So I think the inside of this building is over here, and this is the outside over here. I would suggest demolished perhaps late in the 16th century, early in the 17th century, and then reconstruction and reoccupation over there where we've got 17th and 18th century pottery that has come over from North Devon. So we're seeing the stages in the transformation of an absolutely classic medieval manor. As I said, for those of you who are on the bus I was on as we came through, almost uniquely the holding of a knight who answers for a single knight's fee and has got a coherent block of land. You know, you just don't find that. That's how it ought to be, and it's rare. It isn't like that in reality. From that into probably the big house of somebody who was a steward, a major tenant for the Herberts, the Barons, the Earls of Pembroke, as we're moving into the very late Middle Ages and towards the 16th century, and the eventual transformation of that into just into a large farmhouse of a prosperous farmer of the 17th, 18th century. And from then the farms move over the road. We've got Upper and Lower Cosmoston Farm over there. We can follow the story further on. As I also said to the other group, there's the intriguing possibility of following the story further back as well, because we've got a major Roman site not very far from here, a villa at Landoc. Something that's very interesting about that villa at Landoc is that only a few hundred yards from it, we've got one of the small number of early medieval Welsh monasteries, the major religious centres, that are practically the only types of site we can follow all the way around the country and map from the period from the 6th century through to the 10th century. We've got another major site not very far from there at Dinas Powys, where 5th to 7th century there's a so-called citadel. It's like a little hill fort where they were importing material in from the Mediterranean. There was amphora coming in, pottery from western France. No doubt these were coming in as containers with oils, with wines, and things like that, in very, very high status life going on there, and also producing high status metalwork too. The roadway that we've got down there, we know was actually constructed in the early 19th century, but it runs directly from Landoc down to Lavernock Point, where it can branch off into two bays, which are the best